What's up, Castleberry? Welcome to episode 180 of the What's Up, Castleberry podcast.
We are back. Thank you, listeners, for joining us today. We have some exciting interviews, some breaking news. But first, we want to introduce you to the team. My name is Andy. I am here with
Alia,
Carlos,
Robin,
and we are the What's Up Castleberry Dream Team, as our text thread is self-indulgently named. Guys, it's good to see you. Is everyone doing all right?
yeah.
Today we are talking about flourishing, human flourishing, based on a study that Harvard did. So to introduce our topic today, before we get to our guest and our interview, let me ask you each a question. When in your life do you feel most fully alive, as if you're flourishing? Let's start with Robin. What makes you come alive, Robin? I'm a little nervous about what the answer will be.
when I get to just be my fully creative self and not have to worry about the things of this world that bring you down.
That sounds like
Making art and having fun.
that sounds like a country song.
My single releases next week.
But I love that. I love that, though.
Thank you.
Yes, to be creative and carefree.
Yes.
Makes you alive. Love it. Alia, what are you at?
maybe cheesy, but when I'm here,
that is beautiful. Beautiful.
I will say,
It's art.
like, there are days where I'm like, oh, I have the podcast tonight and it's going to be late night. Not dreading it. But then, so I come here tired, but then I leave like
Fully alive.
Yeah.
Flourishing.
Like, I actually have energy because you guys bring me energy, and connecting with other people brings me energy. So then I go home and then tell Nick who I met and the conversations we had. So I feel like every time I always leave feeling better.
Oh, that is very sweet and sentimental. I am encouraged by that statement. I'm glad we can help you
I'm
feel
honest.
most alive.
It's true.
That's good. Carlos, what you got?
So for me, I think one of the reasons I ended up doing the improv thing is just because I love making people laugh and kind of, I know what a laugh does for me. And so I think my moment of feeling most alive is either just that moment of getting a laugh out of an audience member, but then also on the more sappy or cheesy side would be,
Well, Aaliyah set the tones.
yeah. would be for me at work when I've seen people that I've been training start tackling big issues and problems on their own without my help anymore, and it just feels really, really cool to see that. And I've been seeing a lot more of that recently, so it's really, really cool to see.
I love that. I mean, these are all great answers. I mean, I think especially about the laughing thing. I mean, there is actually kind of a chemical exchange that happens as we laugh with each other. And, they say that laughter is the best medicine. I'm not sure it's the best medicine, but it's certainly a medicine. And as much as we can bring that. When do I feel most alive, like I'm flourishing? I think for me, it's when I'm doing something that feels like I was created to do it, right? Sometimes it's mentoring a younger person. I met with a guy today and he just had all these questions. And I'm like, I love this. Keep asking the questions because it's causing me to think, and I know it's making an investment of you. So I totally get that. I love to preach. I think that's part of my thing. And sometimes it crashes. And what's the opposite of flourishing? I feel like that. but sometimes when I've got really something to say that I'm so passionate about and I get to say it, I love that as well. For me, I don't play soccer as much now as I used to, but I run. Sometimes if the weather's just right and I'm in the right stride and in the right headspace, I kind of feel fully alive when I'm exercising as well. And obviously there are lots of physical components of that as well as the spiritual and emotional stuff. So, let's do things that make us feel alive. And we will hear more about that from our guest in just a while. Let's go to our news desk. Who is sitting behind the news desk today?
Hello, straight from 434, 792.
Yeah, this is 436.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're not doing the traffic report, though, so it's okay.
Yeah, we're good. It started with a 4. I was close. All right. Well, this actually takes place on 1792. So Labor Day protests unfolded in Castleberry, where over 300 demonstrators gathered along State Road 1792, holding signs and participating in a car caravan. This is along with the No Kings protest, and the nationwide protest on Labor Day was workers over billionaires. I think that it is great that our community is going out there and protesting, whether you agree or disagree with the movement. That's part of our rights as Americans and our freedoms. And, you know, we've seen the disagreeers protest as well, and they have every right to do that as well. So I think it's great that we're practicing our right to protest.
Yeah. We live in a democracy where freedom of speech is very, very important. Those are interesting protest sites. We've got 2 or 3 of them in Castleberry now. Part of me doesn't like the idea that people come to our community just to protest. I'm not sure we necessarily want that reputation, because it does have some cost to the city. But you're right. I'm glad that we can be a place of free speech.
And I spent the weekend for Labor Day in Cincinnati, and I saw the protests as well. So it's happening nationwide. Yeah.
So you are like a protest junkie.
Correspondent.
Yeah. I just follow them.
Well, I think there's a correlation. What I'm hearing is every time Alia shows up somewhere,
Some protest.
there's some protest.
Not here. Not here.
Yeah. I want to be clear that I'm a supporter of protests going on in free speech, but I will not have my children listen to this episode where we're talking about protesting being okay, because then they're going to protest their dinner and protest their bedtime.
I will
form a
supply them
coalition
with some signs to help them unionize to do that. We celebrate our right to protest as an expression of freedom of speech. Let's pick up the tone a little bit and go to our dad joke section of the week. Do we want to theme these jokes around the idea of human flourishing?
Bless you.
I do have one that has the word flourish in it.
All right.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it, Robin? Are you going to judge the joke section?
I just live to judge you, Andy.
Okay, there you go.
So, with a great flourish, the Hispanic magician exclaimed, "On the count of 3, I shall make myself disappear. 1, 2, and then he vanished without a trace."
Okay, that's not really on theme for where we're going, but that was fun.
It had the word flourish in it.
It did.
I'm
that was
give it to him.
Okay.
And his delivery was good, so
It was. What are you giving him? What rating?
7.
7%. That's my favorite joke.
Hey, Andy, this one's also kind of on theme.
Okay.
Why do vampires avoid high-level corporate jobs?
Vampires avoid high-level corporate jobs. I don't know.
Because they're afraid of stakeholders.
Hey, there you go.
And it's on theme
9.
because the nonprofit we're talking about has a lot of stakeholders in our community. So
Okay, tenuous link. Alia, do you have anything to contribute to this amazing section?
Not really, but I'm just afraid for the calendar.
You're afraid for the calendar?
Its days are numbered.
Hey, there we go. Did you hear about the flower that applied for a job?
No.
It wanted to flourish in its career.
Okay, you get a 9 for that.
9? I don't think I've ever got a 9.
He got a 9 on that stakeholder one.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I didn't rate yours, but I'm not gonna.
Oh, so I didn't win. We tied. Well, I'll take the tie.
Let's see what another joke you got.
Okay.
So if you had a larger, wider tie like they have in in the 90s, and then like a thinner tie, and you rolled them up and let them go at the same time, do you know which one would fall first?
Which one?
It'd be a tie.
I can't.
That's a 10, so you won.
I told my wife that she should do lunges to stay in shape.
Okay.
Did you get slapped?
Take that out. The punchline is, because it's just a joke, she said that would be a big step forward. But let's not do that.
We're not going to do that. I want you to get to
All right.
make those tattoos last.
But this has got nothing to do with flourishing. But I did used to play the piano by ear.
Oh.
Now I use my fingers.
He still wins.
That's a pretty good one.
It was good.
Biased.
But it wasn't.
Biased.
It is.
All right, listeners, we've shared a little bit of news. We have shared some of the things that make us come alive. We have attempted to share some jokes. Now, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor before we meet with our guest.
Church Together connects people together with Christ in community and for our city. Join us for worship at 200 North Triplet Lake Drive in Castleberry, Sundays at 10 a.m. For more information, visit us at ourchurchtogether.com.
All right, listener, welcome back to our favorite part of the show, which is our interview. Joining us today is Shane Kohout, who is the Executive Director of Community Flourishing Initiative. Welcome, Shane.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we're having you today to talk about this wonderful new Community Flourishing Initiative. Tell us a little bit about it. I know that there's already some buzz around kind of what you guys are doing, what you're working on, and even just what's already existing. For example, that neighbor to neighbor program, which is really amazing. But to get us started, with a bit of an icebreaker question, a big topic of this conversation is going to be in flourishing. So if flourishing was a flavor of ice cream, what would it taste like and why?
I love this question because it's so weird. And Andy spoiled it and told me ahead of time. So I've been thinking about this for like an hour.
Yeah.
And so I think the flavor ice cream flourishing would be whatever your favorite ice cream is. Because part of flourishing is joy, and you want to have joy in your life, and you want to experience happiness. And so if it's your favorite bowl of ice cream, then you're going to experience joy. So what's your favorite ice cream?
I think for me, the blue bubble gum.
Blue bubble gum.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, why? Is that yours?
I mean, no, it's like my least favorite.
That checks out.
What's your favorite ice cream?
I would say like mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chips.
I need something
that's
like
a normal favorite. ice
Crunchy.
cream.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So blue bubble gum.
abnormal.
Yeah, I would say flourishing tastes like your favorite ice cream unless it's blue bubble gum.
Right.
And then maybe not that.
Perfect. Yeah. That's fine. That's fair.
And so
No,
what's
that's awesome.
yours?
I would either be Ben & Jerry's Dirt Cake, or which is phenomenal, or that kind of that peppermint candy ice cream that Publix does around Christmas time.
I love that one.
Yeah, that one just feels like Christmas. That's good.
And we're almost at Christmas, kind of. I think there's like 15 Fridays left or
I
something.
think I'm just ready to pretend that we're almost at Christmas, no matter what time of year it is.
Right. So pivoting a little bit, what's one small thing in your own life right now that makes you feel like you're flourishing besides that ice cream? Whether it's a hobby or a habit.
Yeah, I have two answers to that. One, I think, is kind of silly, and then the other one I want to try to defend. So the silly one is I've been recently watching some of my favorite kid cartoons with my two daughters. And so kind of watching like Pokemon or Avatar Last Airbender, like watching those shows with them, it's their first time. But for me and my wife, we loved these shows when we were younger, and not having our phones with us and just kind of sitting there and enjoying with them and then talking about it with them and telling them to go draw pictures from the shows and things like that. That just feels like flourishing, right? Like there's just something about that feels right and is life-giving. And it feels silly, but I think it's like the right things to do. And so that's one. And then the other one I want to defend is so actually, and I'm executive director of this nonprofit that we're doing, but I'm also a pastor at a local church. So it can sound like this one is like a shameless plug or a fake kind of answer. But I actually think going to church is something that feels like flourishing in my life. There's something about gathering together with others, breathing hope into each other's lives, singing songs together, praying, those kind of things. Having people know your life and know you well enough to ask hard questions or to laugh with you or weep with you when you're going through hard times. That has just been flourishing throughout my whole life. It's something that I think gives life back. And the way I want to defend it, so the way that's not just a cheap pastor answer, is that part of the research that's coming out of Harvard right now that we kind of base the name on the nonprofit on actually lists belonging to religious community as one of the pathways to human flourishing in our lives. And that you actually, if you have religious community as a regular part of your life and it means something to you, all the markers of human flourishing actually increase in those individuals substantially. And that's out of Harvard research. And so that's the way I defend my pastor answer.
No, I like that. I think it's good to have a community. And like you said, to have somewhere that people know you and help you grow and become a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing to have.
Yeah. And so many people don't have community. And so it's just so important. So many people feel lonely and disconnected right now.
What would you say first kind of stirred in your heart this idea of community flourishing, and how did it evolve into the current initiative? Yeah,
I think human flourishing has been in my heart for a long time. I don't know where that started. I think a lot of my faith has to do with that. I mean, Jesus said, I came to give life and that you would live abundantly. And so I've always been interested in that, what it looks like. Also just longing for flourishing in my own life, because no matter who you are, you've experienced times where you don't feel like you're flourishing. And so that's just been a constant theme in my life. But the genesis for the nonprofit would have been, I think 2 years ago, we were doing one of our big Castleberry family events. We had just brought back Funtoberfest after taking, I think it was like a 4-year hiatus. Right before the pandemic, we did our last one. And that was just such a blessing that we ended it then. And then the pandemic happened. And then we came back, and I was at that event and I was running around, and I'm admin. So I'm running around with my head chopped off. I mean, this is the day that you've been preparing months for. And someone on the radio was yelling like, we're running out of candy, and so that's just, that I felt like my soul left my body for a second there. I'm like, the kids are going to riot. Like they're going to take over the bounce house. It's going to turn dangerous soon. And so I found a church member. I gave him my credit card or the church credit card. I don't want to take credit for that. The church credit card. We said, go across the street to Target and get $500 worth of candy. And he ran across the street. I thought he would take a car. He did not. Literally filled a shopping cart of candy and then pushed it across 1792 like a crazy person. Ended up stealing Target's, Target. We returned it afterwards, but borrowed Target's shopping cart, brought it over to the park, dumped the candy there. But it was around that moment when we were going through all that panic, I had this thought that I should slow down. And I just felt like it was the Lord, but I just felt like I just to stop and turn and look at what was happening. And I turned around and I looked, and there were all these kids running around in costumes, laughing and having fun. There were moms and dads, there were single parents, and all these people were having this joyous moment. And I think at that moment, something sparked and started a conversation in my heart of just, how can we grow this in our community, and how can we seek people and people's lives and put joy and flourishing into their lives. And so it's kind of started the conversations around community flourishing.
Yeah. So I'm interested in the events kind of tied to this. Is the Funtoberfest, is Neighbor to Neighbor is one of them. Are there other events kind of ongoing that are kind of tied to this?
Yeah. So there's several things. So originally, years ago, I would say about 5 local churches in Castleberry came together and said, let's start loving our community together. Not interested in our individual churches' names, but just this is what we think Jesus followers look like. And so let us go out into the community and love people. And so those churches kind of gathered together, and they started with the Castleberry family events. And that was an Easter event. and then Funtoberfest. The first year, just 2 churches together did an Easter event. By the next year, there was like 5 to 7 churches. The year after that, there was over a dozen churches that were coming together and doing these events. At the time, we were doing them at Secret Lake, and the city was just so supportive and actually really just got on board with us being a part of those events. We had a couple thousand people come from the community to each one of the events. And so they just saw this is really giving something. This is a value. We did that for several years. And then, like I said, right before the pandemic, we just felt like we were talking through it as pastors that we were being called to pursue something that served a need in the community. And so we just took a break from these events and we sought neighbor to neighbor. And that actually happened because someone in code compliance reached out to us and said, hey, I know of your churches and these events that you guys already do. Would you guys be willing to help some families in our community that are just struggling to get their yards cleaned? And they said, we're finding these families, but it's like the elderly, it's disabled, it's a single mother raising an autistic son, all these different varying things. They're just hardships. And so their yards have kind of fallen off to the side. And so we started Neighbor to Neighbor, and we've been doing that for 5 years. We've done over 65 homes in Castleberry, and it's just a fun event, but I also think just incredibly impactful to take volunteers, go to a home on a Saturday morning, clean up this mess and get it to the curb, cut away overgrowth, get debris or garbage to the curb. And then the city actually partners by having their Waste Pro, or I think it's now just their city services, but they come out and they actually pick up the garbage that afternoon. And now the event has actually grown into something where with the nonprofit, we've been able to approach other churches in other cities. And so now it's Castleberry and Winter Springs.
That's awesome.
It's really, really cool. And businesses have joined in too. So Lowe's has donated picnic tables. So not only are we cleaning out the lawns now, we're actually adding something of value to the home and saying, hey, we want to envision you that this space that's kind of was overgrown and useless to you is now an asset to your family and to community and to flourishing. And then Chick-fil-A is donating lunch for all the volunteers, but also for everyone who lives in the homes. And so when we finish up, we can have a picnic in their yard at each site and have a meal together, which is a part of human flourishing, is that we would have relationships, community, laughter, conversations, breaking bread together. And so the event's just grown. Some of the other things, less event oriented, but we have one more event, Neighbor to Neighbor School Edition. It's right when the first week of school, right before it starts. We go to all the elementary schools in Castleberry and Fern Park. So that's 4 different elementary schools, and we purchase mulch because the county is unable to provide mulch at this time for the schools to beautify their campuses. And so we laid 1,200 bags of mulch just this past month at all those elementary schools. And we do some just projects around the school just to make it a more beautiful space. So when the kids return, the school feels like it's been prepared for them. And the teachers know that, hey, people in the community see the work these teachers are doing, and we actually want to support you. And then outside of that, we have just a couple other things that we're actually piloting and kind of growing. One is a mentorship for families who have financial needs and want someone to come alongside them, help them make a family budget and set financial goals. And so we're training mentors in that right now. And another one is called Embrace. And it's when an unexpected pregnancy occurs and a woman chooses life, and they have that first year where there's a lot of difficulties. Maybe they don't have a community around them. If they partner with Embrace, then we partner 3 women to surround them for that first year. We do a baby shower where the baby comes. They do a meal train for the weeks after the baby arrives. They meet with her twice a month. And just as friendship over coffee, support, pray for her, just encourage her, check in on her. And then they celebrate key milestones throughout the year, like Mother's Day, baby's first Christmas. We get an ornament for the child to mark that special year. And then they do that all the way through until the child's first birthday. And we celebrate. And at that point, the hope is that they don't need a program around them because they actually have genuine relationships and community now that they have around them that supported them through this first year. So those are some of the things that we're kind of doing. That program, I think, has already helped 5 women, and it's kind of being set up to increase next year.
Awesome. So, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of different things in the community that inspires you, but if you could think of who or what else comes to mind that inspires you when you think about flourishing communities?
Sure. Yeah. Two things jump to the front of my mind right away. One, Andy's not in the room right now, and I think we all love to make fun of Andy. But at the same time, I really respect Andy. And when I think of someone who does community in a way that brings flourishing for others, I think of him. Andy's invested so much time not working angles, but actually just being a genuine friend to people. And I think that is seen. People pick up when someone is trying to angle for something. Mm-hmm. And when you're genuine like that, I think it actually is, people realize you're actually just investing in them. And I think he's done that for so long that he doesn't realize how rare that is. Mm-hmm. And so that's just been a huge blessing for me to be around and be a friend of. The other is I actually just think of my daughters and their friends on our street. I think we forget how easy it is to have flourishing community. And so just earlier this year, I was out front of my house. My kids were playing chalk in our driveway. And these other kids rode their bikes up and they just looked at me and they said, "Can they play?" And my kids just looked at me and they just were sure I was going to say no. And I said, "Absolutely, they can." Mm-hmm. And they lost their minds and they got their bikes and now they drive up and down our street and knock on doors and they found all the kids in our neighborhood and they just ride their bikes around. Mm-hmm. And I think that when I think of community that's flourishing, I just think of something that's as simple as that, to go find people who are just alone and invite them in and then have joy together. And that's what those kids are doing.
Yeah, I think we can look at kids and learn a lot from them. So that's like just such a beautiful example.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you say are the biggest challenges you see in our community that the CFI initiative kind of hopes to address?
Yeah. Well, we've done a lot of what's called needs-based assessment. And it's, I think, unfortunately, a lot of times people, when they want to know what the needs are, they just kind of look out the window and they look at what they see and they say, "Oh, it must be, that's the need." Right. Mm-hmm. And needs-based assessment does a little bit more kind of investigating. Mm-hmm. One way is interviews and asking stakeholders in the community, asking people who are actually living in the community what they think the needs are, looking at statistics, surveys, and other public information. And so we've been doing that for a while. And I think some of the things that we've identified, they're not surprising. But loneliness is rampant in our community. Mm-hmm. I think it's rampant in our culture and in the States. But in our community, there are a lot of lonely people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of elderly people who are very lonely in our community. People who are shut-ins or live at home and don't have anyone coming and checking in on them or interacting with them. Another one that's really big is mental health. Obviously, everyone talks about the mental health crisis. Advent Health did a community health needs assessment report that they do every 4 years, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they said that the largest need in the last report that was published was mental health counseling in this area. I think Florida ranks, I'm going to mess these numbers up so people can fact check them, but it's like 47th, I think, in people who say that they cannot get care because they can't afford it. And I think it's 43rd in counselors per 100,000 people. So that means there's an availability issue and then there's an affordability issue. So one of the other things I mentioned earlier about some of the initiatives we're doing is we actually launched a counseling center. We have 2 counselors on staff. It's called Flourish Together Counseling. And we've set aside funds so that when people say, "I need care, I need counseling," they come to it, we can do an application with them and do a scale, kind of sliding scale on what they can afford. Mm-hmm. And so that way we can support people and it's affordable. Mm-hmm. And we're adding more counselors who are professionals and qualified into Castleberry community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if someone is listening and wants to get involved tomorrow, what's the first step that they could take?
Goodness. Wow. They can go to our website. It's communityflourishing.org. They can fill out the newsletter information there. When they do that, they'll get upcoming events and they can also kind of find out ways that they could get involved. They can email me directly at skohout, that's Kohout, at communityflourishing.org. and they can just introduce themselves. And I would love to share with them what we're doing. We're just a small nonprofit. So, I mean, I'm happy to go and get coffee with people, get a meal, talk about what we're doing, hear what's on their heart. But yeah, there's just tons of ways to get involved. If they're connected to any of the churches that we're already doing this through, there's some events that their pastors already know about and have already gotten registration links for. And but yeah, just reach out.
Sweet. So kind of to start wrapping up here, but fast forwarding 5 years, right? The Community Flourish Initiative has fully lived into its mission. What would that look like, and how does that feel different in Seminole County and City Castleberry and kind of our local area?
Yeah. I think that it would, if this goes well, and people would be flourishing more, I think what that would look like is kind of what I shared earlier about my daughters and those kids coming up to them and saying, hey, let's go play. I think that there will be less lonely people in our community. I think that there will be healthier people in our community. And I think when people are not doing well, they will be caught by others and they will know the resources that are there for them so that they can get better. I think that there would be more connectivity and relationships. So you think of the family events that we do, where thousands of people come out. I want to see more kind of events like that for all age groups in our community, where people feel like that they can do life together. Something I thought about and heard a long time ago is just how few adults have close friends still. I think it would look like friendships and relationships. And so I think it would be a healthier county if we do this well. And I think that it would be a less lonely place.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Awesome. Well, you're getting me excited for the future. Some days feel, worrying and some others don't. So I'm excited for what CFI has in store and the impact that you all will make in the community. I'm excited to also partake in some capacity.
That's awesome. We look forward to it. We're just so excited to be in this community. We love Castleberry. It's a great place to live and we love it already. We just want it to flourish even more.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shane. Is there anything that you want to leave our listeners? I think you already gave the website and everything.
Go to the website, look up Flourish Together Counseling Center. If you're looking for a counselor in the area, go to communiflourishing.org if you're looking for our nonprofit. Email me. I think that's it.
Okay. Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Good.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Want to do the inspirational quote? You don't have to.
I can do it.
Okay.
If you don't want to.
No, yeah, it's okay.
We just check what I'm reading from.
Hold on. Okay, no, it's not there, so never mind. I don't know. Hearing random noises.
Shane, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for all that you do to help our community and its residents flourish. Today's inspirational quote as we close out this podcast comes from John Muir in 1911. He says, everybody needs beauty as well as bread, places to pray in and play in, where nature may heal and cheer and give strength to the body and soul alike. What he's doing is he's talking here about flourishing. And flourishing is more than just about getting our basic needs met. It's about finding beauty and wholeness and joy and experiencing all that life has for us. So listener, today we would encourage you to look towards flourishing and ask yourself, what does it look like for me to become the best version, the most fully alive version of me that I can? Ask yourself that question, answer it, and then go for it. Thanks so much for listening to us today.
Thank you, Andy. And thank you, listener, for listening to another episode of the What's Up Casper podcast. This podcast is hosted by Andy Searles, Alia Ray, and Carlos Perro, and produced by Robin Kepi. For more information, please visit us at whatsupcasper.com. And until next time, have a great week.